The weak Humanth galaxy was ruled by powerful alien empires. Giant lizard warriors, machines with no mercy, and flying creatures with minds sharper than blades. These species believed they were born to rule. They looked at humans as nothing more than weak animals. Slow, soft, emotional. On planet Ridden 6, there was a huge battle arena. Here, aliens trained and tested their warriors. It was also a place for entertainment. Prisoners from weaker races were thrown into the arena. They were made to fight for their lives while the alien crowd cheered, laughed, and placed bets. Humans were a favorite joke here. They screamed, they cried, they begged, they died quickly. And every time the aliens laughed louder. On one such day, a transport ship landed on Ridden 6. The crowd was already roaring, waiting for blood. The prison gate opened. Out came a group of alien criminals. And one human. His name was Jace Carter. He looked thin, tired, and small. No muscles. No armor. Only rags and cuffs on his wrists. 2 tall guards pushed him forward. "Look at that weak thing," said a blue-skinned alien with 4 eyes. "He won't last a minute," laughed another. "This will be fun," growled a giant red warrior from the back row. But Jace didn't react. He kept his eyes on the ground. He didn't speak. He didn't shake. He didn't even blink. They threw him into a corner of the waiting zone. The other prisoners laughed at him too. Some made fun of his soft skin, others of his quiet face. Jace said nothing. While the others prepared weapons, Jace was drawing something on the ground with his finger. Strange lines. Old symbols, circles. Triangles. No one noticed. A nearby guard did, though. He looked at Jace's drawing. Something about it felt wrong, too perfect, too old. But before he could say anything, the gates to the arena opened with a loud boom. A deep voice spoke from the speakers. "Warriors, welcome to the blood sands. Fight for your life, or fall in shame." One by one, the prisoners walked into the arena. The sunlight hit their faces. The alien crowd stood high above, shouting, waving flags, throwing food, laughing. It was chaos. Jace walked slowly, his feet bare, his head still low. The dirt of the arena felt warm, dry, strange. "This will be over fast," said the announcer, grinning. The fight began. The aliens charged at each other with clubs, spikes, energy blades. Screams filled the air. Jace didn't move. He stood still, watching. A large horned alien saw him. He smiled cruelly and ran straight toward Jace with a metal spear. "Die, human worm!" He shouted. But just before the spear hit Jace, something happened. The ground beneath Jace's feet began to glow. His eyes turned wide in shock, but it wasn't fear. It was recognition. A giant blast of blue light shot up from the dirt under him. The alien with the spear flew back, unconscious. The whole arena shook. The crowd fell silent. A glowing symbol appeared under Jace, the same one he had drawn earlier. The walls of the arena started to hum. Deep vibrations echoed through the ground. Dust rose. Cracks appeared. The arena wasn't just a place of death. It was ancient. Jace looked around. His hand was glowing faintly. His mind felt open, like someone had turned on a light inside his head. He heard a voice, deep and slow, not from outside, but from within. "You have returned," the voice said. "Who are you?" Jace whispered, "The last guardian. Your blood remembers. Your kind once ruled the stars." The crowd began to scream now, not with joy, but with panic. Guards ran to close the gates. Commanders shouted orders. The alien leaders in the control room looked at each other with fear. What had they awakened? Jace took one slow step forward. Every light in the arena flickered. The voice in his head spoke again. "You are not weak. You are chosen. The armor waits. A camera drones above him recorded everything. Across the galaxy, millions began watching the strange human in the arena. News screens flashed. Unknown event on Ridden 6, human involved. Classified energy signature detected. In the shadows of far-off star systems, ancient machines stirred. Old enemies turned their heads. Something long forgotten was waking up, and it all started with a weak human. Asterisk, the hidden Chamberth arena was in chaos. After the blue light exploded from the ground, the sand floor cracked open beneath Chase's feet. Dust flew into the air, and the alien crowd screamed in panic. No one had ever seen something like this. Not here. Not anywhere. And then the ground gave way completely. Jace fell into darkness. He didn't scream. He didn't resist. It was like he knew this fall was not death, but destiny. He dropped for what felt like seconds and hit the ground with a soft thud. Surprisingly, he wasn't hurt. The floor below wasn't stone. It was smooth, warm, almost alive. He looked around. He wasn't in a cave. He was in a chamber, hidden deep beneath the arena. It was huge, silent, and glowing faintly with blue lines that pulsed like veins. Walls of black metal stood tall, covered in symbols that moved slowly, as if breathing. The voice from before returned, calm but full of power. You are inside the vault. It has waited for you. Jace stood still. He didn't know where he was, but something deep inside him remembered. He took a step forward. The lights grew brighter with each movement. Symbols lit up along the walls. Suddenly, a tall crystal structure rose from the center of the room. Inside it was something that took Jace's breath away. A battle armor. Tall, sharp, beautiful. It was not like alien tech. It had human lines, smooth but strong. Golden edges wrapped around a dark silver core. The chest plate had a glowing sigil, the same symbol Jace had drawn earlier in the sand. He walked closer. The AI voice guided him. This is the Arc Core armor, forged by your ancestors, bonded only to bloodlines of the old Earth Guardians. Jace didn't understand everything, but he felt a strange pull, like the armor was calling him. He touched the crystal. A shock ran through his body. Not pain, but memory. Visions hit him like a storm. Earth. Not as it is now, but as it was, a superpower in space. Fleets of human starships flying. Warriors in glowing suits. Humanity standing proud beside the stars. They were protectors once, before they vanished. What happened to us? Jace whispered. The voice replied. They betrayed you. The council erased your kind, feared your power, and buried your history beneath lies. Jace stepped back in shock. The alien High Council, the ones ruling the galaxy now, were the same ones who destroyed the old Earth warriors? Why? Before he could ask, the walls around him began to shift. A recording appeared, floating in the air. A human figure, tall, strong, wearing the same armor, spoke in a calm, serious tone. If you are hearing this, it means the armor has chosen again. You are the last key, the last hope. Do not run from who you are. Awaken the Arc Core. Awaken us. The recording faded. The chamber grew darker. Suddenly, red alarms blared. The upper arena guards had discovered the hidden vault. Scanners picked up Jace's life signs. They were sending down drones and soldiers. Jace looked at the armor. The crystal holding it began to crack. Will you accept the bond? The A asked. He didn't think. He placed his hand on the center sigil. The armor exploded from the crystal, piece by piece flying around him in a storm of light and sound. It wrapped around his arms, his legs, his chest. His eyes glowed. He screamed, not in pain, but in power. His body changed. Strength rushed through him. Energy flowed like fire in his veins. He could feel everything, the walls, the machines, even the guards above. This wasn't just armor. It was a living machine, a memory of war. And now it was his. Bond complete. Arc core activated. Command link open. Jace looked at his reflection in the metal wall. He wasn't the same boy anymore. He looked like a warrior of legend. But there was no time to think. The floor behind him burst open. Alien drones flew in. Weapons ready. They fired. Jace raised his hand. A shield of light formed instantly, blocking the shots. He didn't even flinch. One drone rushed him with a blade. He moved like lightning, fast, smooth, deadly, and crushed it with one blow. His mind opened to the entire chamber. Maps, data, past wars, hidden truths, everything the Council had buried. He saw it all. They lied to us, Jace said. They feared us, the AI replied. And now they will fall. The vault door opened behind him. More guards coming. Above ground, the Council had sent warships to lock down the planet. They wanted him dead, now more than ever. But Jace was no longer a prisoner. No longer the weak human they laughed at. He was something else. A weapon. A survivor. A ghost from the past, now fully alive. And he was just getting started. The first fight deep under the arena, Jace Carter stood inside the ancient vault. No longer weak, no longer afraid. He wore the Arc Core armor, a weapon of the old Earth Guardians. It pulsed with light, alive, connected to him. The armor moved. With his thoughts. It didn't feel like wearing something. It felt like becoming something else. Above him, Ridden 6 burned with confusion. Alien leaders screamed at their soldiers, demanding answers. Where is the human? What happened to the arena? Lock the planet. Now, drones flew into the vault, but they were no match. Jace crushed them like toys. Every move he made felt natural, like he had trained his whole life. But he hadn't. The armor carried the memory of warriors long dead. Now those memories were his. The AI, inside the suit, spoke calmly. Enemy response time, 18 seconds. Exit route ready. High-speed flight systems locked. You must reach the surface. Let them come, Jace whispered. I'm ready. Suddenly, a floor under him opened like a launch pad. Energy gathered around his feet. He bent his knees slightly, and then launched straight upward like a missile. Stone shattered. Metal broke. Dirt and sand flew into the air as he blasted out of the ground, right into the heart of the arena. The crowd had returned, not to laugh this time, but to watch in fear and awe, and they saw something no one believed possible. Human, flying in the air, wrapped in glowing armor, eyes burning with power. A legend. Reborn. The arena guards opened fire. Plasma blasts filled the sky. Jace spun mid-air, dodging shots with ease. He held out his hand. A weapon formed from the armor, shifting into a glowing blade. With a swift movement, he shot downward, landing in the middle of the attackers. Dust exploded around him. When the smoke cleared, all the guards were down, not dead, but unconscious. Jace had moved through them faster than they could blink. The crowd stood silent. For the first time in the history of Ridden 6, a human had become the most dangerous being in the arena. From the upper platform, a voice growled through the speakers. Enough games. Send in General Vor. A huge gate opened on the far side. And then they saw him. General Vor, a war hero of the Grix Empire. 10 feet tall, pure muscle, armor-plated, claws made of star steel. He had won 200 battles, crushed 50 enemies with his bare hands, dropped into the arena with a crash. He looked at Jace and laughed. This is your champion? A little human wrapped in glowing metal? Jace said nothing. Vor attacked, fast for his size. He swung both arms, heavy enough to break stone. Jace blocked the first hit with his shield, dodged the second, and jumped back. But Vor was smart. He grabbed a broken pillar and smashed it toward Jace. Jace jumped high, 20 feet in the air, and landed behind Vor. The suit whispered, analyzing target. Weak points, neck joint, lower back, right knee. Jace moved. 3 strikes. Precise, clean, deadly. Vor roared in pain and fell to one knee. What are you? He shouted. Jac. He looked him in the eyes. The future. He raised his palm. A blast of pure arc energy hit Vor in the chest, sending him flying across the arena. He hit the wall and fell silent. The crowd gasped. Even the alien generals watching from space went silent. This wasn't just a human. This was a problem. But Jace wasn't done. As he stood in the center of the arena, the sky above changed. Giant screens lit up with warning signals. A new voice, cold and emotionless, came from the orbiting command ship. Attention all forces. Code red. Arc core armor detected. Human host confirmed. Eliminate at once. More ships entered Ridden's orbit. War cruisers. Fighter jets. Drones by the hundreds. They were not sending bounty hunters anymore. They were sending an army. Jac. Looked up. The A. I spoke again, slower this time. You are now marked by the Council. They fear what you might become. They will not stop. Then, neither will I, Jace replied. Just then, someone shouted from the tunnel behind the arena. A female voice. You don't have time. Come with me if you want to survive. It was Lyra, the alien scientist who had studied human history in secret. She had been watching him for weeks, hoping for this moment. Jace turned to her. The crowd was starting to move. Guards were regrouping. Sirens blared. More enemies would arrive any second. Jace ran toward her. They disappeared into the shadows below the arena, into the old tunnels. Systems were falling apart. Ridden 6 was about to become a war zone, but the real war had just begun. A galaxy just watched a human defeat a legend. Now they will try to erase him before he becomes one. Hunt for the humanth galaxy was not quiet anymore. After the events on Ridden 6, the blue light, the ancient armor, the defeat of General Vor, something had shifted in the balance of power. Alien news networks ran non-stop footage of the human in glowing armor. Is this the return of the Earth Guardians? Has the High Council hidden humanities? True power? Unknown weapon bonded with human DNA. On every planet, people were whispering a name they had never said with respect before. Human. But not everyone was afraid. Some were angry. In a floating war chamber above the planet. Jarek 4, the High Council gathered. Tall, twisted, powerful beings sat in a cold circle. They spoke without mouths, through pure thought. This cannot continue, one hissed. The Arc Core was lost for 10,000 cycles, another said. How did a primitive human awaken? We buried their history. We erased their victories. But we forgot their bloodline, the oldest one muttered. We left one spark. Now it burns again. They didn't argue. They decided. Hunt him. Destroy him. Erase him again. Red symbol blinked on the table. They activated Project Eater, a secret task force built to wipe out threats from ancient times. Trained assassins. Weaponized creatures. And at the center, a cold, perfect killer known only as Zorran. Zorran had no face. Only a mask, no voice, only silence. He didn't fail. He didn't stop. And now, he was hunting a human. Meanwhile, deep in the underground tunnels below Ridden 6, Jace and Lyra ran through the shadows. Alarms echoed above. Searchlights scanned the broken arena. Patrols stomped through every corridor. This way, Lyra whispered. She had risked everything to help him, her career, her safety, maybe even her life. But she had to know the truth. Her people had taught her that humans were weak, broken things from a dead planet. But Jace was something else, Dot. They reached an old maintenance bay. Rusted doors, flickering lights. Lyra opened a hidden panel in the wall and pulled out a small box. "What is that?" Jace asked. "Evidence," she said. "Files they tried to destroy. I've been collecting them for years." Inside were old human symbols, strange photos of Earth warriors in Arc Core suits, and a map, a star map with glowing lines leading to a single system, long abandoned, blocked from travel, forgotten by design. "This planet," Lyra said, pointing, "is called Solara 7. It's where your people once trained. It was your command center." "Why didn't they destroy it?" Jace asked. "They tried, but something stopped them." They stared at each other in silence. Then a sound. A small beep. Soft. Quiet. Too quiet. "Get down." Jace shouted. A plasma dart shot from the ceiling, missing them by inches. Another one hit the wall and melted it instantly. They rolled behind cover. Jace activated his armor shield. In the shadows ahead, something moved. Fast. A tall figure dropped from the ceiling. Silent. Slow steps. Mask glowing red. He raised a weapon that hummed with dark energy. "Zoran," Lyra whispered in fear. "He's real." The killer didn't speak. He moved. He and Jace collided in a flash of light, and Sparks. Zoran was fast. Faster than Jace expected. He had fought before, but this was different. Zoran predicted his moves, blocked his punches, countered with strange dark tech weapons. Jac. He tried using his energy blade. Zoran caught it with his bare hand, absorbing the energy. "Like it was food. He's draining your suit." Lyra shouted. Jac jumped back and fired an energy wave. Zoran dodged and disappeared into smoke. Jac. He breathed heavily. His suit was damaged. "He's not just a hunter," Jace said. "He's built to kill me." The AI whispered. "Warning. Enemy design matches Ancient Council anti-Earth units. This is not a normal assassin." Zoran appeared behind them, silent as death. But Jace was ready. He dropped a light bomb from the vault, one of the last weapons recovered during his bonding. It exploded in a flash that blinded Zoran for a moment, enough to escape. They ran again, deeper into the tunnels, until they found a hidden launch pad, an old Earth escape pod, buried in rust and memory. Lyra activated it. Jace climbed in. "This pod will take you to Solara 7, she said. "You need to go there. Learn who you are. Unlock the rest of the armor. Come with me," he said. She shook her head. "I'll slow you down, but I'll find you." Pod's engine started. Outside the bay, Zoran was coming down as the door began to close. Lyra looked at him one last time. "The galaxy thinks you're a weapon," she said. "But I think you're more." Then the door shut. The pod blasted into the sky. And below, Zoran watched silently, calculating his next move. He was hunted, wounded, and alone, but ahead of him was the truth, and the truth would change everything. Power unlocked space was quiet, but not peaceful. Jace sat in the escape pod, staring out the small glass window. Stars blurred past. The pod moved fast, faster than anything he had ever flown in. It was old, but still powerful, made by his ancestors, made by humans. When they were legends, the AI voice inside the Arc Core armor spoke softly. "Destination, Solara 7. Ancient coordinates confirmed. Prepare for memory synchronization." "What does that mean?" Jace asked. "You will see what they saw. Learn what they knew, if your mind can survive it." Before Jace could reply, a wave of energy shot through the armor. His vision faded, and then the memories began. He wasn't in the pod anymore. He was standing on a battlefield, not as Jace, but as another man. A guardian, leading thousands. Earth banners flying high. Alien machines burning in the distance. Then another memory, the Council's betrayal. Human ships being hunted. Whole cities erased. Humans called dangerous and called extinct. Jace gasped as he woke in the pod again, his heart racing. Sweat on his forehead. The armor was glowing brighter now. They lied about everything, he whispered. We were never weak. We were protectors. Defenders of peace, but now he was the only one left. The pod entered orbit around Silara-7. The planet looked abandoned. Gray clouds. Broken satellites. No signals. But as Jace descended through the clouds, he saw signs of something else. The ruins of a human fortress-city. The pod crash-landed on an old landing platform. Jace stepped out, his boots hitting steel that hadn't been touched in centuries. Vines grew through walls. Metal towers had collapsed. But even in ruin, the place felt powerful. This is where they trained, Jace said. This is where we stood our ground. The AI responded, correct. Silara-7 was the last stronghold of the Earth Guardians. Your final battle was fought here. Jace walked through the ruins, broken training arenas, rusted weapons, statues of warriors, all wearing the same armor as him. But one building still stood tall. Vault. He entered slowly. Inside, the walls lit up with his presence. A deep hum echoed through the floor, and at the far end of the chamber was a machine. Large, old, covered in dust, but still alive. A memory forge. The AI explained. This is where your ancestors enhanced the Arc core, trained their minds, and unlocked their final form. Jace stepped into the machine. It scanned him. Blood, armor, mind, soul. And then it spoke in a deep human voice. You carry the spark. The legacy, you carry the failure, and the hope. Suddenly, the walls exploded with holograms, old data, battles, messages from Earth commanders. We lost, but one day, a new guardian will rise. If you are him, awaken, rise, evolve. The forge powered up. ACE screamed as lightning filled the room. His armor changed. It reshaped, reformed. New parts unlocked. Flight stabilizers, energy wings, nova cannons, adaptive shielding. The Arc core reached second phase. He wasn't just armored now. He was reborn. Outside, something dark moved through the sky. ZORRAN. He had tracked the escape pod's signature. He now stood at the edge of Silara-7's ruins, watching the ancient human city with emotionless eyes. His orders were clear. Erase him. Meanwhile, Jace stepped out of the forge chamber. He could feel the difference. His mind was clearer. His movements were faster. The world felt slower around him. AI, he asked, can I win now? The AI answered, you have unlocked power. But victory needs more than strength. It needs purpose. Suddenly, the floor shook. Alerts rang. Incoming hostile detected. Class Omega. Danger level. Extreme. Jace rushed outside. And then he saw ZORRAN. This time, the killer didn't hide. He stood tall on the battlefield, holding two dark blades that hissed with void energy. You followed me here. Jace said. ZORRAN said nothing. He rushed forward. They clashed, harder than before. Faster, louder. Metal struck metal. Energy burst with every hit, but Jace was different. Now, his armor adapted, countered, reacted. His strikes were sharper, smarter. He flew into the air, dodging blasts, then rained down Nova energy like a falling star. CORRAN blocked some, but not all. Finally, Jace drove his fist into Zoran's chest. A crack appeared on his mask. The killer flew back, crashed through a wall, and vanished into the dust. Jace stood alone, but he knew it wasn't over. He'll be back, he said. The AI agreed. Yes, and next time, he won't come alone. Just then, Jace heard a voice through his helmet, weak but clear. Jace, it's Lyra. I don't have much time. They found me. Her signal cut out. Jace looked up at the stars. They're coming for all of us, he whispered. Then we'll come for them. He activated the forge once more. If he was going to lead a war, he had to become more than just a fighter. He had to become the leader of the last army of Earth. The armor has evolved. The hunter has failed. But a darker force is rising, one that even the Council fears. Battle for Ridden 6. The stars over Ridden 6 flickered with tension. Warships filled the orbit. The sky no longer held peace, only dread. A blockade surrounded the planet, and under its burning clouds, armies gathered. Mech units stood tall, alien mercenaries lined up, and heavy tanks rolled across the sand. The High Council had sent a message to the galaxy. The human must not survive. They didn't just want Jace dead. They wanted his story erased. Far edge of the system, a single ship emerged from hyperspace, silent, dark, fast. Inside, Jace stood alone. He looked out the window at Ridden 6, the planet where it all began, the place where they laughed at him, caged him, humiliated him. But now he was no prisoner. His armor had evolved, sharper, heavier, glowing with layered energy. The arc core was now fully synced with his mind, and he had unlocked Phase 3, quantum combat mode. His reflexes were no longer just fast, they were predictive. His armor could read enemy movements before they happened, and most of all, he had remembered who he was. He wasn't just a human. He was a descendant of the last Earth command, bred to lead, born to fight, chosen to restore. The AI spoke. Landing zone ready. Multiple hostiles detected. Good, Jace said. Let them come. His ship burst through the clouds, silent as lightning, and crash-landed into the heart of Ridden 6. The arena. Dust exploded. Stone shattered. Sirens screamed. Aliens rushed to the wreck. Then silence. A figure stepped out of the smoke. JECE. His armor pulsed with power, and the ground around him trembled. For a moment, the soldiers didn't fire. They just stared. One of them whispered. He came back. The command units gave orders. Attack now. Hundreds of enemy troops charged. JAC. He didn't run. He launched. He moved like a storm, dashing between targets, blocking plasma shots, sending shockwaves with each punch. One by one, alien tanks exploded. Drones fell from the sky. His energy blades cut through mech armor like paper. He wasn't a man anymore. He was a force. Above, on every screen across the galaxy. The footage played live. Broadcasts labeled it. The return of Earth. One human, one war. Arc Core reborn. But Jace didn't fight to be famous. He fought for Lyra. He fought for the ancestors, whose bones were buried in silence. He fought to remind the stars that Earth never died. It was only sleeping. Meanwhile, on the Council's command ship, panic had set in. How is he still alive? He destroyed 2 divisions. We need reinforcements. But it was too late. The tide had turned. Across other systems, rebel groups who had feared the Council now rose. Seeing Jace fight had changed something. Hope was spreading like fire. Alien leaders, who once ignored humanity, were now sending secret messages. One voice message broke through Jace's private comms. This is Commander Call of the Morvian Resistance. If you survive Ridden, We will join you. And another, Jace Carter. We saw the battle. We are not your enemies. Send us coordinates. Earth stands again. The war was no longer about survival, Dot. It was about rebellion, Dot. But just as victory neared, a deep pulse echoed across ridden skies. Something had arrived. Dot, something old. Dot, something worse. Dot, the clouds turned black. The ground cracked. Jace looked up and saw it. A massive ship, dark, silent, shaped like a blade, descending through the atmosphere. It didn't belong to the Council, Dot. It belonged to a forgotten enemy. The AI spoke, alarmed. Danger. Ancient threat detected. Designation. Harrow-class destroyer. Creators, unknown. Power signature matches. Extinction-class technology. What is that? Jace asked. The AI hesitated, something it had never done before. It is not Council. It is not Resistance. It is older than both. The ship opened like a mouth, and from it descended a figure, cloaked in shadow, armored in void metal, eyes like dying stars. Zorra had returned, but this time he wasn't alone. Behind him marched a new breed of soldiers, silent, mechanical, twisted, created not to kill, but to erase history. JAC. He stood on the edge of the destroyed arena, breathing heavily. His armor was cracked. His energy was low, but his mind was clear. You came all this way, he said, just to lose again? Zoran's voice finally echoed. For the first time, cold, broken, echoing through 100 languages. No, I came to finish what your kind started. They charged. The final phase of the battle had begun. But this time, it was more than Council versus Rebel. It was the past versus the forgotten. It was Earth versus extinction. He returned to fight one army, but woke something darker. The battle for Ridden is not the end. It's the beginning of a greater war. The last stand. The sky above Ridden 6 was no longer blue. Black clouds rolled like waves. Lightning cracked without sound. The sun, once bright, now hid behind a shadow that stretched across space. The Harrow-class destroyer, ancient and terrible. This was not a Council weapon. This was a relic of extinction. Below, the battlefield was silent. Ash drifted through the air like snow. Bodies, machine and alien, lay scattered. The ground was torn, the arena nothing but a crater, and standing in the middle, surrounded by fire and ruins. Was JACE. His armor flickered with damage. Cracks along the chest plate. Sparks from the left gauntlet. The arc core was still active, but barely. His eyes were tired, not from pain, but from memory. From the weight of a forgotten legacy reborn in his blood. Across the battlefield, Zoran stood, reborn in void armor. His new soldiers, the Nullborn, marched behind him. They didn't speak. They didn't breathe. They moved like a virus, made of steel. And yet Jace did not step back. From orbit. Transmissions flooded across the galaxy. Jace Carter still lives. He faces the Harrow ship alone. Is he human or something more? On distant planets, alien civilians stopped to watch. On Resistance ships, fighters held their weapons tighter. On Earth's last hidden colony, long believed lost, the message reached survivors. Earth stands. The AI inside Jace's armor flickered in and out. Core temperature, critical. Energy at 12%. Neural link unstable. Jace breathed deeply. He whispered, "One last stand, then it's over." A voice broke through his helmet. Faint. Broken Lyra. "Jace, I'm alive. The Resistance is coming. You don't have to fight alone." Jace smiled softly. "I'm not fighting for me. I'm fighting for all of us." Zoran stepped forward. For the first time, his voice echoed clearly. "You think you've won something here? All you've done is wake the dead. Your people died. For a reason. And you will join them. Maybe, Jace replied. But at least we'll be remembered. And then the final battle began. Zorran moved first. He flew like a shadow, his blades cutting through stone. Jace activated the last of his energy, forming a dual shield and energy blade. They clashed in mid-air. The shockwave flattened everything around them. Buildings crumbled. Dust swallowed the sun. Every move was brutal. No wasted motion. Jace fought. Like a man possessed, guided by memories not his own, but burned into the arc core. Strike. Block. Twist. Fire. Zorran countered everything. Until Jace did something unexpected. He dropped his blade and grabbed Zorran with both hands, locking. Into a forced override? AI, Jace said. Core detonation protocol. Code 179. Full memory upload. The AI hesitated. This will destroy the arc core and your mind. Do it, Jace whispered. It's the only way to stop them. Energy surged between the two warriors. Jace wasn't trying to kill Zorran. He was trying to infect him. With truth. In a flash of white light, memories flooded Zorran's mind. Visions of old Earth, honor, families, children smiling. Wars not for control, but for protection. Zorran screamed, a soundless roar of a broken mind, remembering what it used to be. The Nullborn faltered. Their steps slowed. One by one. They stopped. He collapsed. His armor cracked open, smoking. His body shook. But it had worked. Zorran fell to his knees. Mask shattered. And in his voice, for the first time, was something real. What have I done? Just then, the skies opened. Resistance ships entered orbit. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Fighters. Cruisers. Drop pods. Lyra landed beside Jace, rushing to his side. You idiot, she said, laughing and crying at the same time. You were supposed to hold the line, not burn yourself to death. Hey, Jace coughed. You said it yourself. I'm more than a soldier. Together, they watched the resistance take control. The council ships retreated. Zorran was taken into custody. The Nullborn simply powered down, like statues waiting for purpose. Days later, a broadcast played across every known system. This is Lyra of the Allied worlds. The war is over. The human known as Jace Carter did not just survive. He reminded us all why we fight, not for power, but for truth, for freedom, for memory. Humanity did not die. It was buried. And now it rises again. Long live Earth. Jace stood on a hill above the ruins of the old arena. His armor was gone. His body was scarred. But in his eyes was light. Around him stood alien children, looking at him like a hero from stories. He smiled and sat beside them. You want to hear what really happened? He asked. They nodded. Then listen close, he said, because this time we write our own story. They laughed at a weak human. Now they remember his name. Jace Carter, the last guardian of Earth, and the first of a new beginning.